Alrighty, live from Cabot, Arkansas. This is Answering Your Financial Questions with Ramsey Solutions Certified Coach Steve Money. Sorry, making sure sound is good. And it is. Alrighty. So, youtube.com/Coach Steve Money is where you're at. And if you are wanting further financial content, just scroll down on the page to the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. That is this one. And the Ramsey Show After Show playlist as well. There are 390 of those. And the music playlist has 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, including How to Do the Baby Steps Right. So give those a listen if you are so inclined. Let's get into the questions. Reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey, not run by fans. Not run by Ramsey Solutions, run by fans. If you want a group that is run by Ramsey Solutions, that would be on Facebook, called the Ramsey Baby Steps Community. If it's called anything else, that's just a fan group. All right, and I do sometimes do questions from that as well when I run out of questions on the Reddit, because there's only 1,000 questions at a time on the Reddit, and I stream a lot, and so sometimes I do run out of questions. All right, the Sinar credit card debt at 8%. Got an offer in the mail to do a balance transfer to an existing card for 4% interest until May of 2025. Should I transfer it and snowball this one card? Okay, so the issue with this, and a lot of people do the math on this and think, well, I'll save 4% interest on it while I'm paying it off. But also doing this kind of stuff, consolidation loans and stuff, that makes you think you've done something. You're just moving it around. And in baby step 0, part of baby step 0 is where you decide not to add any more debt. And generally there's a transfer fee happening. And so, but moving it over and having it be lower interest makes it less stakes to get rid of. And for the average person, that might make them not be as intense as if they kept it at 8% and they just hustled too harder to pay it off. So that's not recommended. It's just recommended to pay it off as fast as you can, where it wouldn't make as much difference. But you would only need to do that if you're keeping it around forever. And if you're keeping it around forever, you're not following the baby steps anyway. Traditional Act 3790, overspending. We are on baby step 2 and are spending $600 on groceries every 2 weeks for a family of 3. 2-year-old, and my wife is a pescatarian, that's fish, and I love meat. All right, nothing wrong with some meat. We try to eat organic and wild caught food. So you would be giving that up for if you're on baby steps 1, 2, or 3. You would be giving that up. And you can't, you can still maybe even go organic and wild caught food, but you can also buy cheaper organic and wild caught food. So let's see. Our budget was $500 before we started using a meal prep company called Clean Eats. Yeah, meal prep company. Yeah, so you're paying somebody else to do that for you, and so that's a no. That's a no. You're not using any of those services on step 1, 2, or 3. Cooking is just not our thing. Wah. So still 600. Let's see, every 2 weeks. So that's was that 300 a week. So that's $100 on food per person, and the 2-year-old, you don't really count the 2-year-old. 2-year-old's not eating that much stuff. So that is excessive. And so, yes, that is overspending. You have titled the question correctly. Any tips or accountability for what I believe is a crazy dollar amount for a 2-week period would be appreciated. No, you're right. So get over yourself trying to eat organic and wild caught for a while. It's just for a hashtag season. Once you get in step 4, go back to it. It's fine. But you can also probably eat organic and wild caught food without using that meal prep company. Those things where people make the food for you and send it to you or send you all the ingredients and stuff like that, that is richy people stuff. And so you do not do that on steps 1, 2, or 3. And so you're right, it is crazy. Do not do that. Alrighty. So it didn't say what step though. I don't think. Was it a flare? Nope, no flare. They don't like to talk about their flare, apparently. Am I doing okay for 21 years old? The comparison game. A lot of people wonder if how they're doing at a certain age, and generally that's not good to do. You just want to do the best you can. So, and as far as money is concerned, if you're following the baby steps, you are doing much better than probably 90% of the planet. Let's see. Am I doing okay for 21 years old? Let's see. I think I'm on baby step 4. Yeah, it's always weird when people can't understand what step they're on. Like, how would you not know what step you're on? The only reason you would not know that is if you think you're supposed to do multiple at the same time, which you are for 4, 5, and 6. But otherwise, I don't know. And people that are supposedly well off, like if they are investing already, if they're already saving for kid college and they're already sending extra to the mortgage, but they do have a car loan as well, they don't want to think of themselves as in baby step 2. So that's what, I don't know what step I'm on. But it does seem readily apparent to me. Of course, I am a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach, so I may be biased and it may be easier for me. Let's see. But I can't even ever fathom buying real estate because I think it's near impossible for me, even if I'm doing good. That's doing well. I'm from and have only lived in very high cost of living. You might have to move, dog. Or the other solution to that, there's moving. And then there's also other solution would be to save up a very, very high down payment. And then you can do that. Currently I have a 75K positive net worth and no debt. Fabulous. It's about a 50-50 split with investment and cash, 9K checking, 31K savings, 34K investments. If that's a retirement account, then that doesn't get touched for a down payment. I still can't imagine a future where I retire with wealth because I don't have real estate. You don't have to have real estate to retire with wealth. Like you can retire with wealth just owning a home generally, but I mean you can also generate wealth even though you don't even have a home. Even if you're renting, you can still generate wealth. Can't think of when I could ever buy, and I don't make that much. I have a job with a good career trajectory. I think, well, if you're not making that much and you're not gonna make that much, maybe it's not a good career trajectory. Lots of I thinks in here. But every time I continue to invest, I can't see the future. What does that mean? Now you can stop investing for 2 years to save up a larger down payment faster, which in a very high cost of living area with you not making very high cost of living money, you are going to need that. And so, and to have an idea of what you're talking about, I mean, this person is just talking about investing real estate, not buying a house. And so, yeah, you wouldn't do that except with cash. And so, guess what? You may not be buying real estate. You can just invest in mutual funds. Mutual funds don't have problems. Mutual funds don't go over budget, or any other things that can happen with. They don't require a separate management company, to, unless you're paying somebody to do your investing for you. They don't require a separate management company, like real estate can, if you are not doing everything yourself in it, which also cuts down your profit. So that makes it less desirable to do. But everybody shouldn't be a landlord. Absolutely. So it's not for everyone. So if you're talking about buying a house, you certainly can. It just may take a while. You're 21 years old, just a baby. I mean, it all depends on where you're looking at. A 16-year-old doesn't think you're a baby, but I do, because I'm old. I'm an old. But you are probably doing better where you are now with no debt and the amount of savings and investing, and presumably that's in retirement. You are doing better than most of your peers, I'm sure. So if you want to play the comparison game, you're ahead of them. But no, there's no magic way to automatically be able to, with a low paying job, so you don't make that much, especially in a very high cost of living. So you could be making that much if you were in, say, Ohio, but if you're in Boston or like Denver, then that money's not going to go as far. And so, um, so it would just depend on like the other numbers involved, as far as you would just have to save up a larger down payment so that your mortgage is a lower amount and fits in with your income, with the Ramsey advice of being mortgage payment being 25% of your take home pay. And so that tells you. Doesn't say how much you made, so I can't say what kind of mortgage, but generally it's like 2.5 times the amount of your annual salary is how much mortgage you can take out. So everything else between that mortgage amount you can take out and what the house actually costs, you have to save down payment, and you can do that. So, but another solution to that is you can change career trajectories and quit thinking so much. I think everything is I think. Find out some actual information, as far as what you will be making in the future on this career trajectory. Get another path. I understand young, and so, may not be doing more thinking probably than anything else on it, but find out the actual numbers involved and go from there. Alrighty. Honey Sickle. Spend your giving budget on small businesses. All right. Support small businesses through your giving budget. Let me explain. David's a big promoter of small business. Shoot. He even has his own podcast where he talks to small business owners and creates a path for leadership success in business. He wants to see these leaders to succeed, I think, not success. And he wants their business to thrive. No business succeeds on no profit. Right. People must buy their product. Often small businesses need higher prices to compete with larger chains. That much is certain. I think of Amazon or Walmart, that I can buy a ton of product in bulk or have many distributors. It's hard to compete when your prices are higher. Right. So you have to be in the right business and in the right place if you're a small business in order to succeed. So you don't get to say, well, I'm going to be a mom and pop grocery store and I'm going to be 2 blocks away from the Walmart and I'm going to compete with them. That's probably not a good way to go there. And so you don't get a pass on that, not doing that forward thinking on that. Let's see, I want to help local small businesses when I can. They add value to any city through taxes and they interconnect with my neighborhood. All right, so I'm sure it goes on from there. But there is nothing wrong with that. And so if you're talking about spending your giving budget on small businesses, one way you can do that is to buy things from the small business that you would then donate. And so then you're spending money with the small business and you're also donating it to a worthy cause as well. And so you can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone doing that. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with doing that. But you don't do the small business at all costs, especially when if you think they shouldn't have opened that mom and pop grocery store right next to Walmart anyway. That was a bad mistake. And so that's probably, but I mean, you can do whatever you want with your money. You can spend it wherever you want. And again, doing the giving and contributing to a small business's profit, that's fine. That's doing both in one fell swoop. That's awesome. That's a good plan. User 163106, to pay off mortgage or not, 2.25%. Won't paying off my mortgage outright and all debt hurt my credit? Yes, but guess what? We don't give a crap about credit score. This is the Dave Ramsey subreddit, right? Are you familiar with Mr. Ramsey? He's the no debt guy. So that means no debt. That means you pay off all of your debt as fast as you can, and then you don't take out any more, and you don't need a credit score unless you're going to try to borrow money again, which you're not going to do if you're following this advice. So yes, people always ask this, and then they say, well, I can get 5% and I can get double this in a high yield savings account. And yeah, you can. That's called debt leveraging, where you're keeping a debt around of the mortgage in order to invest money so that you get a return on it. And so you can certainly do that, and that math definitely works, but that also keeps you in debt longer, which is not the advice from Mr. Ramsey. So you can do whatever you want to do, but his advice, millions of documented success stories. No other financial bro advice has been proven anywhere near, doesn't even come close to having near the track record of Mr. Ramsey. Score specialist 462243 with a $750,000 net worth, 150K household income, living in South Carolina. I have no debt except $75K mortgage. Why do I still get so stressed out about money? Sometimes, depending on the person, that never goes away. So you would think you would be okay. South Carolina, not a high cost of living area. I don't think there's even any cities in there that really would bump it up much higher than anywhere else in South Carolina. So that would probably be fine. Maybe pay off that mortgage as fast as you can. Instead of, if you're investing more than the 15% of gross income, stop doing that and pay off this mortgage. Or if you're doing anything else with money that you're doing, instead of paying off the mortgage early, because that is baby step 6, and then you'll be in baby step 7, and then at that point you would definitely have no excuse to be stressed out about money. And then at that point, you might want to see a counselor about that, because some people are stressed out about anything. They, you name it, that they shouldn't be stressed out over. And so, but that does happen. That does happen, definitely. And some people that start the baby steps, They will start step one, $1,000 emergency fund. Step two, pay off all debt. And during steps 1, 2, and 3, you're not going out to eat. You're not buying anything. You're not spending a dime. That's not a necessity. Granted, on your budget, you can put in X amount for fun money, but you do have to be intentional about it, and you don't want to go crazy with the non-necessity spending. The idea is that for a short time, you are sacrificing almost everything in order to get out of steps 1, 2, and 3. And then on steps 4, 5, and 6, then that's when you start buying the non-necessary stuff, going on vacation, etc., and so forth. But yeah, so some people get stuck in this mode when they've done, step 2 for a year or two, that kind of thing, and then they get past it and do step 3 and they got that done, and they can't break out of that step 2 mentality. That does happen as well. And so if it's that bad, it may require counseling. But for this person, I would suggest go ahead and get completely rid of that mortgage and see if you still have the same stress. You can do that on your own and instead the next thing to do might be to get counseling, which that involves another person, and that involves spending money on other stuff. And so that is also money. And so that's spending money to help find out why you're so stressed out about money. And so there you go. Security force, debt free, but the mortgage, excellent. 34, wife is 37, and we just became debt free, but the mortgage, excellent. Congratulations. Paid off her $53,000 car loan in just over 3 years. Very excited to stockpile cash in the emergency fund to get to investing 15% by February of 2025. Cheers to baby step 3. Absolutely. Congratulations. Freedom! WB 1001. Student loan predicament. Yeah, it is when you take those out. No matter what else is going on with you. Hello. Hi, guys. I graduated college 2 years ago and have been paying my student loans for 1 year, totaling in $15,900 now. I currently pay $400 to $500 monthly and have no other debt. Well, that part's good. I am trying to figure out what order to pay my student loans, smallest to largest. I have 6 federal loans in total, 3 subsidized and 3 unsubsidized. I had a great system of paying the largest chunk toward the top 2 loans that accrued the highest daily interest. That's the debt avalanche. That is not what's recommended. It's recommended you knock out the lower debts first. However, as of August, the federal government placed many student loans into forbearance and indefinitely, so now all my subsidized loans are not accruing interest. Again, you wouldn't pay any attention to any of that crap. You would pay smallest to largest no matter what if you want to follow Dave's advice. While the unsubsidized ones, our student loan policies are changing by the month, and I'm unsure how long this no interest thing will last, right? You should do smallest to largest. So the way you're doing it wrong right now. If you're trying to follow Dave's advice, trying to do your own thing, it's still great that you're paying off and paying extra on them. That's more than most people do. That's an ad trying to disguise itself as a post. It got me one time because I didn't see the sponsor in there. Mountain War 4292 doesn't sound like a fun place to have a war because you're going uphill or downhill. Am I crazy for wanting to delay plans for 2 years? It depends on what plans and it depends on what you're doing. For example, before we read it, let's just jump in. If you want to do something else, like rack up a lot more debt or go on crazy vacation or something like that, before starting the baby steps, that's a no for me, dog. Let's see. I'm not really sure where to start. 27 female, currently 20 weeks pregnant, okay, you would be just piling up cash, paying minimums on any debt, and just piling up cash. And so you wouldn't be doing anything. With a third kid, the baby, while completely unplanned, is excited news for my husband, 26 man, and I. Okay. A couple of years ago, while I was pregnant with our second baby, we moved out of our home state for my husband's work. Okay. Job gave him a promise of a nice job that would have him if we relocated. And when we did, they jerked him around. That does happen, unfortunately. My husband, who had believed it was a sure thing, only had a word of mouth deal from his manager. That's rough. He ended up switching companies shortly after. Okay, now my husband wants to use his GI Bill to go back to college. That's rough, having 3 kids. Oh, second. No, it's third. Okay, yeah. That's rough with 3 kids doing that. It's great. You can use GI Bill to go to college free. That's fabulous. But guess what? You got to work full time during that. Part of that would be moving back to our home state to be near both of our families. Okay. I'm all for moving back. Let's see what the rest of it is. All for moving back, but I don't think that it will be is the best time for my husband to start college. We will have a 6-month-old, 2 car payments, his truck $580, my car $202. No, he needs to be working. No, you can do that once you get to step 4, then that's when you would do college. And then you can only have 1 full-time job. He also wants to buy a house. See, there's limited funds. There's limited money that you have income. And if he's going to school, you can't work as much. So, like, as far as extra. So, no, you cannot do everything all at the same time unless you go into a ton of debt. He wants to buy a house so that we can use it as a rental once he's done with college after 4 years when we relocate to our forever home. Everything you're doing is bad here. Let's see what George thinks about it. Well, maybe. Yeah. Sorry.
You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
Right. And so, not necessarily doing it wrong yet, but he certainly wants to do it wrong. And so you need to wrangle hubby back in there. I think that it would be best to wait until after spring of 2027 when my husband's car will be paid off to start college. Yeah, that would be almost $600 less per month in fixed expenses. I'm not even saying that. I'm saying he works more now, like more than full time. So he gets like a side hustle, part-time job, whatever. And it works more to get to baby step 4, meaning you have no debt and you have the full emergency fund. And so there's no house buying during any of that until you get past step 3. And that's when you would save the down payment of it. So that's a no. And so the problem is with people, they don't want to wait. They want everything right now. That would be almost $600 less per month on fixed expenses, right? Plus several other bills will be paid off by then. You know what you could do? $600 car payment. He could move down in car as well. So, if you want to get out of this stuff and get to a spot where you would be in a better place to do things like start college with 3 kids, then that would be a good thing to do. Move down in car. You get rid of that car payment, $600 per month. Yeah, you don't have to wait until it's paid off to get rid of that $600 a month car payment. You can sell the car and get rid of that right now. And you get a beater car. Plus several other bills will be paid off by then. Again, you do that as well. You don't just pay minimums on debt to pay it off. That's not how it works in Ramsey land. Due to being sideswiped and rear-ended, the truck is not really able to be sold for more than what we owe on it. We've checked. That's fine. If you break even, that's fine. And then you can, if you don't have the money handy, if you can't save up a few $1,000s to buy a beater car, you can get a loan for that. And David's fine for you getting a $2,000 loan to replace a however many tens of thousands of dollar loan it currently is. I'm struggling to figure out how we would pay for all of everything. Yeah, you can't. Especially if my husband quit his job for school. Yeah, even though you don't have to pay for school, you've got the GI Bill. Oh, and he's going to go to school and not work either. Yeah, that's not happening. He's in some kind of fantasy land. I know he doesn't particularly like his job now. That's tough. And then he doesn't want to do it for another couple years. Tough. But he can look for a better job anytime he wants to. He can do that, definitely. But he got to has to keep working. Sorry. It's the business he chose. He's chosen by the way he's run his life so far. But we'd be so much better off financially. And that would give me a chance to get back into the workforce for at least a year after being a stay-at-home mom for the past 2 years. Yeah, once all the babies are in school as well, then you can do at least part-time work. Definitely, you may be able to do something now, like at home while they're asleep. The younger kids, it's possible. But he's got to work his full-time job until you're past step 3 at least. But then who's going to pay for the stuff? Who's going to pay for the your expenses, even after you don't have any debt? Am I crazy for wanting to wait? Nope, until some stuff is paid off and squared away before my husband gets his degree. No, you're being very intentional about that. You're being very what is that called? Forward thinking. And you're in your right mind, and you're not saying, oh, I got 3 babies, but I'm just going to stop working and go back to college because I don't like the way my career went. So that would be whining, and he's delusional. And so you can't do that. Sorry. So good luck with that. But again, with a married couple, you and he have to compromise, communicate, compromise. If you can't do those, you have to get counseling. That's the way it works. And those would supersede any baby steps, but definitely the baby steps are exactly what you should do, because the higher up you are on the baby steps, the better you can take any financial situation, such as if you decide to go back to college. Alrighty. So you're not crazy. You're the non-crazy one. He's the crazy one for thinking he can quit working while he has 3 babies, and you have all that debt still. And immediately, I mean, nobody's even thinking about, not even you, thinking about, oh, we have a $600 a month car payment. We can just sell that car. And you said it is worth, you can sell it for about what it's worth. So yeah, do that and get rid of that loan. And then you get a cheap beater car. And then that frees up $600 a month to allow you to pay off debt faster. And then you can get to that place where you can go to college sooner. Now, that's not going to be the husband not working at all, probably, once he starts college. That probably isn't going to happen. That ship sailed. So, wife, responsibilities, 3 kids. Wake up. Wake up, sir. Wake up. I don't know what you're dreaming, but that's great at night. when you're sleeping, but when it's daytime, it's time to let all that crap go, and you have to embrace the little thing I like to call reality. You just grab it and you just give it a tight hug and say, it's you and me, buddy. Yes, embrace reality. I'm a big fan of realizing the reality of situations. Narrow Split 6883, need help. Hi all, hi guys. New to this, but feeling a little stuck right now in our current financial situation. My wife and I, both 24, still babies, have 2 kids, got babies of their own, and currently on baby step 2. We have $215,000 left on our home that we bought in 2022, as well as $20,000 on a vehicle, sell it. $7,100 in medical debt and $5,600 in credit cards, pay them off. Our combined income is $135,000. We both love our jobs, but there isn't really a path in our fields to make more income without picking up a second job. Okay, your choice. We both work 8 to 5. She's off Fridays, but works Sunday mornings. And I feel like for me, a second job would be really ripping us apart from our young kiddos. It's just for hashtag season. It's not going to be forever. So I get it. I get it. I love my kids as well. Let's see. I bought a brand new 2024 Mazda 3-back in December for a little under $30,000, and so that was dumb as crap. We currently owe $20K. It has 14,000 miles on it and private party. Oh, they've been looking into the sale of it. Excellent. So do that. Let's see. Private party. Private party sale value is just a smidge over $20K. Again, great. Breaking even. Go down, get a bigger car. I drive nearly 30,000 miles a year as a liquor salesman for work. See if they will provide you anything, if they will give you any money towards a car, if they give you any, any gas money refurbished or not refurbishment. Not replenishment either. It's something, I don't know. Reimbursement, I think is the word I was looking for. It's not the word you're looking for. Let's see. Struggling with what to do. I'm not handy at all, and it's nice knowing I have a vehicle I'm going to be able to drive because it's reliable. Yep. Everybody wants to keep the very expensive car payment just for reliability, which in some instances, it's not that reliable. So I'm going to be able to drive for a long time without many issues. However, the $800 a month I'm paying is making us pretty pinched financially. I bet that was so dumb to buy that car. Plus an additional $750 for childcare, causing us to spend more on the credit cards. No, that's not doing it. Your dumb choice to buy that card and other bad choices. So what you would do here, causing us to spend more on the credit cards. If you do not have the cash available in your account, then you cannot buy whatever dumb other crap you're buying. And I'm assuming we don't have a budget and it's not cut to the bone. It's time for a cut to the bone budget. You need to sell that car and you get a different car. You see if your work will do anything for you as far as driving. Just because you have a driving salesman job, that doesn't give you a free pass on having a dumb car payment that high. $800 a month. My goodness. Also 100% commission. And my paychecks are far from consistent, making it difficult to plan and budget for the month. Any advice for us? Look for a different job. I mean, if you're a commission and you're a great salesperson, you should be making enough money to be able to handle it. Now, if you're not making that much money, time to get a different job where you don't have to drive 30,000 miles a year. So that would be it. And I'm certainly aware that it is easier for me to say that because it's not my situation. But when you are deciding financial things, you need to also look at it like it's not your personal situation. You need to, like, for example, if it was somebody else, if it was a friend or a family member situation where you're not knee deep in it and you're not emotionally attached to any of the issues or any of the stuff, and it's not your car that you get to drive with that $800 a month payment, then you might give your friend or a family member the right advice, and that's the exact thing that you should do too. People have blind spots when it's their own little situation. That's why a bunch of them call the Ramsey show and think that they are an exception and that they're gonna be the first one that Dave says, yeah, you can get a loan. You can get a loan for that. Yeah, you can finance that. Dave's not going to say that. There are no exceptions. Selling a underwater car, getting a smaller loan to take the place of a larger loan doesn't count for that. But it's just anything you're not going to finance it. Nothing. So that would be the advice, is to just step out of your own crap and think about it logically and make decisions based on that, not on trying to keep your little thing going that you have there. Because guess what? Is that little thing that you have there, is that working? That's a negative, Ghost Rider. Pattern is full. Aslan, what up? Thanks for dropping by. They're bringing home about $9,000 a month, so they really need to look at what they're spending money on. Exactly. Even with the $800 car payment, they should not have any problems. That much is certain. They do have the child care. I didn't even remember seeing income. Oh, combined income 135. Yeah. Yeah, and also look at the mortgage as well, if they have a mortgage. I mean, they could have bought too much. They bought too much car, so wouldn't surprise me if they bought too much house as well. And so they probably bought too much everything for that income. So I mean, it could be any number of things. And like I said, yeah, another case where they probably don't have a budget, and it's probably not cut to the bone, which is what it needs to be for you to do steps 1, 2, and 3. And it's not forever. It's just a hashtag season. Aslan says, make a good budget and stick with it. That is fabulous advice. Aslan's going to have her own show one of these days. The Adventurist. Should I sell my rental? The house is okay. It's like $1,600. I didn't even remember seeing that. Was that in there? Short-term memory problems. Hashtag dementia. Today might be the day. Yeah, I don't even remember that. Oh, are you just... I don't know what you're basing that on. Did you do the math on that? 1,600. Boop, 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 boop. So if that's... Oh, I see. 215,000 left on the house. Yeah, that might be okay. We got 135. Yeah, 270. Yeah, because they could do like 230, 240, something like that, mortgage. So that's probably exactly right around exactly. And so probably not house poor then. From that information. Sorry, I missed that stuff. Aslan's on it. The 215,000 mortgage is about 1,600 payment. Figured out. Cool. She did the math. Should I sell my rental? Normally, if you ask, the answer is probably yes, but let's see. My wife and I are 20. Let's just go ahead and open this on up because we don't want to miss any of the details this time, do we? And it's not that long either. Wife and I are 28. Bought a new house and rented out the old one last year. Everyone shouldn't be landlords. First of all, that's all. I always say that. A lot of financial bros will say, yeah, you can just, anytime you move, you just keep the other house and you rent it out. We owe $240K on the new house with 7% interest. We owe $85K on the rental. We currently cash flow about $500 a month on $1,300 rent. $6,000 a year. Is that worth it? If you need to replace a roof this year, all gone. We took out a HELOC of $35K, currently owe $25K to help with the down payment of the new house. So you're doing it wrong. So yes, based on having the HELOC too and only cash flowing $500 a month, that's not enough for me. Not enough. Massive debt leveraging here. We have no other debt. Well, that part is good. It would likely take us 6 years if we aggressively pay down the rental and another 2 to pay off the HELOC. Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. Sell the rental. Then after that, we could pay down the new house in about 8 years. My question is whether to sell the rental worth $190K soon. Yes. And avoid capped gains and pay off everything and put a good chunk on the new house. Yes. We could then pay off the new home in about 8 years. Yes. Is it worth waiting almost 6 years to be debt free to keep the cash flow or be done in 8 and then save like crazy to even buy a new rental for cash with, I'm assuming, a fresh cost basis? Yes. And I guess that means 0 cost basis, like, because you're not making payments on it, you own it. And so all the rent is profit then, beyond expenses for being a landlord. Let's see, my wife and I don't have attachments to the old house and wouldn't be hurt to sell. Great, do it. We make about $150K together, but plan to have another kid soon. And she will stay home for a year or two, leaving us with my salary of $105K. That would slow down payments temporarily. Sell the rental. You got it. Like I said, usually if they ask, it's usually the right thing to do. Fan Serious 7672. 20% of income to the house, right? On that 2 questions ago. Fan Serious 7672. Should I keep giving 15% to retirement? You can take 2 years off for 2 things. To save a larger down payment faster, or to pay off your mortgage completely. If you can do it in 2 years, if you stop retirement investing, Dave is fine with you doing that. If it's going to take longer than 2 years, that's a no from him, dog. So let's see, run the numbers. With what I have in 401k and continue to give 6% to it. So that, okay, let me read it. Trying to figure out 15% in the title, 6% there. So I get company match brings it to 9%. The match doesn't count as part of your 15. And assuming 10% average return, I should have around $5 million by the time I'm 60, which should be more than enough to retire on, we would hope. I'm having a hard time rationalizing putting more in when I could instead pay my house off faster, do house projects sooner than when absolutely required, etc. I have no other debts past the mortgage. Baby step 4. Yeah, you're still doing that. I would want to know this person's age. 125 comments, not going through all there to see if he put that in. But I would want to know the person's age. Because maybe if you're 5, even 10 years away from retirement. Maybe it's possible, but generally Dave wants you to keep putting that in. Now, if it's a situation where you can, if you're that old, maybe you do have the house almost paid off. And so if you can pay that off in 2 years, go ahead and do it, because that will be great in retirement. But it does just say baby step 4, so I don't know the age. And so if this person is like 20 or 30, that's a no, dog. You keep throwing that 15% into retirement. Environmental 2, 1880, combined finance question. Okay. And so you do combine finances, is the advice from Mr. Ramsey. Okay, this might be silly, but just looking for advice. All right. Our only debt is our mortgage and child care, if you count that. I do not count that as debt. That is an expense. A lot of people get crazy about that. You do have debt. What about the electricity bill? That's not debt. That's an expense. My husband and I have separate savings and checking, but also combined checking for bills, and we add money every pay to that account. This is done a lot of times. People do this. I'm wondering, though, if we should do it another way. I was thinking just having our checks go straight to that account and then move money out to our personal accounts as needed for credit cards or saving. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. So, I mean, if you want to follow the Ramsey advice, you're not planning for things for credit cards except for paying them off. So you're trying to do your own thing over there. But it wouldn't be to continue using credit cards. So everything you're doing there is bad, as far as the Ramsey advice is. But since it's you and your husband, you guys have to figure out what you're going to do and what you can agree on. And then that trumps the baby steps. But everything you're doing is against the baby steps. So do not do that. Little lawyer, speaking of bad idea, 7752, ignoring some of Dave's advice. Some people ignore all of it. So I would say most people ignore all of it. So let's see what's going on here. This seems more practical. Yeah. Let's see. Debt free except the mortgage. 72K at 3.5 in Cali. Skipping steps 4 and 5 to throw a ton of money at the house and get it paid by mid 2027. That's not quite 2 years. So that would be a no from Dave. Maybe even mid 2026. If you can do it in 2 years, fine. We'll figure we'll save for college after, which you can do with no mortgage payment. And then you can also invest more, because you'll be on, if that's your only debt, you'll be on step 7. So you can invest more than the 15%. And so all that would be fine if you get it paid off in 2 years. The problem is if you're going to say, well, it might take 3.5 years. 2.5 years, and then that stretches to 3, and then that stretches to 4. And so that's too much time not investing. Already putting 5K to 401K, and employer matches 100% of the first 3. Okay, the employer match again does not count as any of your 15%. The 15% that you put in, that's your, they want you to have that much skin in the game. And any employer match is just bonus. So stop trying to scheme and scamming. Everybody's trying to scheme and scam. 33, wife is 34, 2 kids, 8 and 6. We've done the math. I'm sure you have. Once that mortgage payment plus extra towards principal is freed up, we will begin saving all that extra cash for kids' college, weddings, first cars, and can have them comfortable by the time they begin high school. Am I wrong? I just don't see an end game to step 4. That's because it doesn't end. It never ends. You, even if you have income coming in after you're retired from some source, you would still invest if you don't need to use that money to live on. You would still be investing. Why not make more money instead of, I don't know, what I mean, if you want to spend some money, you certainly can, but have it just sitting around in a savings account or even a high yield savings account. If you aren't going to need it for anything, then you can invest it. When should I move to other steps if I were to follow Dave? This seems more practical. Yeah, because again, people, they start thinking the math route. But so again, you're not putting enough into retirement even now. So you need to up that to 15%. I mean, they're in California, maybe making a ton of money. 72K is not a large mortgage balance in California, I'm sure. And so, I mean, if you can commit to paying it off in 2 years, I would be fine with this. But if not, then keep putting the 15% in, and you still put extra to it, and then you cut out some of your California spending, which that does seem to happen for California people. Cut out some necessity. You have to sacrifice in some area in order to get the baby steps done. It's always that, meaning you're not buying, for example, on step 2, you're not buying non-essential fun things, or as many of them anyway, in order to pay off the debt faster. And for you, you're thinking, well, I won't invest and then I can pay off the house faster. And again, that's fine, but there needs to be an end game for that, and it needs to not just get kicked down the road. You know, you saying it might take 2.5 years and then it turns into 3 and then 4 and it keeps getting kicked down the road. And so then that would be bad to not be in retirement for that long. And then of course the kid college as well. So when should you move to the two other steps? So how it works is on 4, 5, and 6, they are done at the same time. Let's take a look at those baby steps, shall we? Because you would think it's a simple list, simple language. You would think they would be easy to understand. But to be fair, it doesn't say step 1, 2, and 3 one at a time without doing any other higher steps before that. So that means you don't start paying off debt. You just do minimums on debt while you're saving up $1,000. So at step 1, you finish the $1,000 and then you check mark that, and only then do you start paying extra on debt. And then once all the debt, non-mortgage debt is gone, then you check that, and then that's when you start saving for your full emergency fund. Okay, and then you're not investing at all during any of that time. No investing. 0. And so once you get the full emergency fund done, then that's when you start investing. And then steps 4, 5, and 6 are all at the same time. So you have a snowball amount that you're using, which is all of your extra money, which first goes into the $1,000 starter emergency fund. And then second, it goes on your smallest debt until all the debt is gone, non-mortgage debt. And then that snowball amount goes to the fully funded emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. And if you're thinking about having a house or you do have a mortgage, I would recommend 6 months of emergency fund, of expenses in your full emergency fund. Oh, but then when you get to it starts on step 3, really, that your snowball is, instead of doing something going towards something like that you can never spend, which is $1,000 starter emergency fund and the full emergency fund, those, in best case scenario, is you never have to touch any of that money ever. And so that's the best case scenario on those. That means you don't have any emergencies, or you've been able to cash flow them all. And so that would be the best thing to do. But So your snowball on step 1 and 2, that's all extra that you're applying to those baby steps. Once you start on step 3, it's a little bit different. You still have that snowball amount, but that amount is now, instead of going to something you can't spend, and of course paying off debt, which that's exactly where it should go, now it's coming right back to you in steps 3. And so even after you're done with that, you still have a snowball amount of extra stuff, of extra money. Now, granted, it might be less because step 4, you can plan vacations and do all that stuff. That's great. Whatever you budget, but if you're married, whatever you agree on, all that's fine. But you would still have an extra amount every month, and that you want to be intentional with that. And the intention is that you do invest 15% household income into gross household income into retirement. And then once you're done with that 15%, any of your extra that you have left would go to kids' college. You start addressing kids' college. If you have kids, if you don't have kids, you can skip step 5. If you do have kids, depends on how old they are. If they're toddlers, then you don't have to put that much in at the beginning. So that's up to you. And then after, if you have other money, extra money still left after that, out of that snowball amount, then you would apply that to the mortgage rather than just like keeping it in a savings account for a general spending slush fund or anything like that. You would be intentional with it and pay out the house early. And so, but all of these things in 4, 5, and 6, this is for you. This benefits you. The investing benefits you. The paying cash for kid college benefits you. And of course, paying off your home early benefits you as well. Now, getting out of debt benefits you as well, but all the money is going elsewhere. Alrighty. So when do you move to the other steps? You're doing 4, 5, and 6 all at the same time. Is how that works. But depending on the income, depending on other factors, it is California. So if you can pay it off, I mean, mid 2026, if you can pay it off 2 years from today, do that. You can not invest for retirement for 2 years while you pay the house off, because it is not that much left on it. Not much for California. Let's see. Okay. Leather credit 8229, expanded or an updated version or classic version. Are we talking about the Star Wars movies or what? Expanded and updated or classic version, probably Total Money Makeover. I want to pick up a copy of the Total Money Makeover. There are a lot of used copies in the classic version that are much cheaper than the updated version. You can't go wrong with the classic version, and even I don't know exactly what's in the updated version because I haven't read it. So I don't know, but it would seem like if they've gone through the trouble to update it, it might be something that can help you on your baby steps journey, possibly, or just in general life advice. If it's just updating the stats, that would be less so. So I can't really say, unfortunately, but I mean, you can't go wrong with the classic version because all of that does still apply, but they may have updates to, like I said, the numbers, and maybe there's some other stuff that they've updated, but it would, as far as the baby steps, all the lessons in there would still apply. What is different about the updated version? It's been updated. That's all I know. I don't know exactly what the other cost. Don't know. Obviously, I am trying to save money, so I'll just get the classic. If they are pretty much the same, you could also get the updated version perhaps from the library. It is still pretty new though, so there may be quite a wait on it. But yeah, you might want to think about that. You might also want to think about the digital version if that's cheaper as well. Uh, but without knowing anything about it and without knowing it, I would probably go updated version if the money wasn't a factor. But you know, if you're trying to save $5, $5 is $5, and I get that. But I would go with the updated, not knowing what is updated in that. I mean, they've updated before, and I probably don't even know what those updates are either, since the time I read it. I'm sure everything that is important is in the classic version. Yeah, probably. I mean, it could just be more up to date stats that they have. Atomic Punk 18. Leave my current job or stay and add pension credits in 2 years at 57. Not still a baby. I'll have older than me, as a matter of fact. I'll have enough time at my company to leave and collect full pension benefits. If I choose to stay, each additional year of employment gives me about $400 a month extra pension benefits. I would hang in there for a while then. My question is, should I stay and earn the extra pension money or leave and find employment elsewhere which would allow me to earn more per year, as I would be collecting the pension and earning money at the new job, thus making more total for the year for my remaining years of working until I am 65. Oh, so you're going to work till 65 regardless, so it depends. That's your plan anyway. So you got 8 years, full pension benefits already, but $400 a month extra. So for 2 years, that's $800 a month in pension. And so you would have to do the math to see what other investing or saving does, as far as whether it generates the $400 a month if you work one more year there or 2 more years. If you work more year, I mean, is that unlimited? Is it unlimited, sir or madam? If so that's 400 a year, so 8 years. So that's $3,200 a month extra pension benefit if you just stay there. And so you just figure out if you can recoup that by investing while you're working elsewhere. So that's what you got to do the math on to figure that out. So, and of course, we don't have enough information to do that math for him, I don't think. Yeah, because we don't know like what basis of if there's any investing that he's doing now, and that it already has a higher basis on there, so it's generating more. But that's going to be generating more anyway, even with even if he doesn't add as much to it in more investing. So that's a good question, but you got to do the math on it, and we don't have all of the information. All right. Do a couple more. Nuevo, Ramsey, Bambino. And this person does, sorry if I rolled eyes. This person does post quite a bit, and I want to say, if I'm remembering correctly, and you know, we know that it could be any day for the hashtag dementia for me, but I'm thinking very Ramsey-ish here. Let's see, advice needed. Health savings account, how do you use it? It's in the way that you use it. Now, you knew there was going to be some singing before it was over here. If I had ended it after the last one, there might not have been, though. No, I already did sang a little bit of baby steps, right? How to do the baby steps, right song. So I have a health savings account through my job. We're a family of 4, wife and I, and 2 young kids. We have a high deductible plan that we have never met since we've all been on my insurance. We tend to use the health savings account throughout the year. Should we be trying to save the health savings account and just pay out of pocket for medical expense? If we do that, do y'all count that towards your 15%? Now that is what some people do in order to have like a tax advantage, more tax advantage, like if they've maxed out the Roth account, and then they still want to invest more. Yeah, you can do that and pay out of pocket for medical expenses and keep everything in there to keep growing. You can do that. The way it's supposed to work, though, the way they intended it to work, is that you can do that and have growth on the amount in there, but you do pay medical expenses out of it as well. But you do have the option to just let it stay in there and never use it. So if we do that, do y'all count that towards your 15%? You would not do that instead. Well, no, you can do that, but I wouldn't count that. I would do 15% on top of that. I would not count that towards the 15%. That would be extra stuff, and so you also you can do it like especially if you have medical expenses that you would be paying out of it, that you would be using it not just for investing, but you would actually be using it to get the tax advantages and the growth on it while it is in there before you use it. But if you know you're going to have definite X amount of medical expenses, then you can do that on any step. You can do that on step 2 for sure. And you're doing that, you can do that even before you would be doing regular investing. But yeah, that's not considered part of the 15%. Because you should be, all your 15 should be in Roth of some type. Now granted, if you make a lot of money and your company doesn't offer a Roth 401k, then you are limited on the Roth amount. If you make too much money overall, you would not be eligible for a Roth unless you did a backdoor. And so there's ways to do that in HSA, and paying out of pocket for medical expenses instead of using the HSA is one of those like kind of backdoor ways to do that. Black and gold for life. Who's that? Saints. 401k. Currently, if you're wondering what that is, why it's named that, that's a like whatever paragraph 401k section or paragraph 401 like section K or something like that is how that works, and that's why it's called that. Currently putting 15% retirement account with a 4% company match. Sitting at 434k in there. Excellent. Always 45 with a retirement age targeted between 60 and 65. Am I doing pretty well? Well, that 434, that's going to generate, if it's making 10% average per year, that's going to generate $43,000. So it depends if that will take care of that in 20 years. Take care of your expenses in 20 years. If you have no other retirement savings or pension or anything like that. But that is a 4% company match, so that part is good. And so it is going to grow higher than that. And so let's see. So you got 20 more years of the match and the growth as well if you stay at the same company. And so I would say you might be, again, it depends on the other situations. Like if you also now still have debt, and you still have a mortgage, and you're spending a lot of money now, then you're not doing pretty well. Not sure how to gauge this. I plan on generating an income of some sort post-retirement also. Yeah, me too. You're looking at it. Hopefully. Feedback appreciated. Thanks, everyone. All right. So, yeah. So, I mean, definitely got on the right path there. Definitely better off than I was at 45, for sure. And so it might be okay. Let's see there. Yeah, I think with the compounding interest over 20 years, I think you would probably have enough. But again, it just depends on your situation now. Like, I mean, if you're bogged down in debt, then you need to get that taken care of, so that that's not a problem in retirement. Because when we think retirement, we're thinking you have all that stuff taken care of at least up to step 3. And if you're doing investing, so then that's step 4. And so that would be great. And so with the compounding interest, I think over 20 years, I think you would be doing okay. I would definitely do any baby steps you haven't done. If you haven't done all the ones before, do that as far as pay off all non-mortgage debt and have the full emergency fund in liquid assets. And then just keep going, and then pay, you're paying extra on the house as well, saving for kid college, if that applies. Yeah, and that's it. 4, 5, and 6, you do all at the same time. That's the investing the 15%, and save for kid college if applicable, and pay off the house early if that's applicable. So probably you're okay, but I wouldn't take the foot off the gas. And again, it depends on what baby step you're on. The advice would be entirely different, and the assuming that you would be okay if you have a bunch of debt right now, even though you do have that 434K in retirement, you have a bunch of debt right now, then that's not the dealio. Oh, let's check it out. Why not? I'm curious to see if only 17 replies. Just trying to see if OP answers. OP is the original poster. 15% needs to be closer to 25%, but you're on track. Everybody thinks they know. This person is on step 7 though, but it can't be according to the Ramsey advice until you have that house paid off. So let's see. The work account could be, it could be a Roth 401k, and they just didn't call it that correctly. Properly invested, you would get 2 more, doubling. For this person, for me, this is the original poster here, so I'm glad I checked. For me, I feel like if I have $3 million at retirement, age 65, over 30 retirement years, it's about $100K a year, or about $8,300 a month, considering no debt and that the money has already been taxed, Roth contributions. That should be more than enough, and it's not even considering other income I intend to generate. Yeah, so knowing that now, that you have no debt, and I would pay off the house still. Let's see if there's anything else. So yeah, that should have been included in the question, just for my question critique. Okay, nothing in there though. So, but yeah, I mean, that would seem fine, but you never know. So definitely pay off the house as well. So this could be, I'm assuming this is a Roth 401k, unless he's just talking about he has the 401k and an additional Roth IRA. Boom. 401k question, you need a lot more information to be able to answer the question in a meaningful way. Right. So that should have been, I appreciate the levity on the brevity, not levity and brevity are 2 different things, but they do rhyme fabulously. So maybe I can fit that in a song at some point. The brevity, I appreciate the brevity on the questions, but should have put in that other information there. Alrighty. So again, this is an odd time. This used to be the regular time for answering your financial questions live with Ramsey Solutions Certified Coach Steve Money. This was the regular time, but now for football season, since most games are in the afternoons, I'm moving it to 8:30 p.m. Eastern time on Saturdays and Sundays. Didn't do that tonight because the Ohio State Buckeyes have a game tonight. And so if they have a game on Saturday night, or the Washington Commanders have a game on Sunday night, then I will do it in the afternoon instead. And so that then it won't be that many through the year. I would think maybe 3 or 4 for the Buckeyes throughout the season. That's through like first week of December. And then the entire season for Washington Commanders in the NFL. That might be twice, 2 or 3 times. They didn't win that many games last year, so that is not the way to get on the primetime schedule. They do have, I think, 2 scheduled now that I know of, but there can always be move. They always change it. Like when it gets closer to playoffs, if they're doing well and playing another team that's doing well, and so it's important to the playoffs, then it could be flexed to that nighttime primetime spot. And so, but I'll try to let people know as soon as I know when that will be. All right, once more, you are on, if you didn't know where you are, you're on youtube.com/CoachSteveMoney. And I am, as it says right there, this is not lying. I am a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. This is absolutely true. And for my financial content, just scroll down, answering your financial questions with me. And again, that is going to be the regular time for that is going to be Saturdays and Sundays. And tomorrow on Sunday, it will be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And the Ramsey Show After Show, and that is Tuesdays and Thursdays, following the Ramsey Show video on YouTube. I do the after show after the YouTube portion ends. I don't wait until the app portion ends. And so that's approximately 5:25 Eastern time is when that happens. And on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I do streams, but only for people to chat in. I might play a video game or something like that for some type of content, but it's mainly for chatting. And the music playlist has 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there, including the previously aforementioned How to Do the Baby Steps Right song, and You Belong Debt Free, You Belong Debt Free, and who knows if this week Dave Cation will continue, but that's a song. Dave Cation certainly deserves it. Dave Cation, time to get away. And it's less about him than it is about all the other hosts that are taking his place, that are hosting in his absence. Take care, Aslan. I do appreciate you being a frequent watcher. Thank you so very much. That is awesome. I appreciate that kind of support. Because you know me, I love attention. All right, just go to my plugs here. You can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. You can email me about said coaching or anything else on my channel, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Channel donations can go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney. Alternatively, to CashApp at $CoachSteveMoney. Or you can do a Walmart gift card too. coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Those upcoming streams, again, answering your financial questions from now through probably the whole football season. Saturdays and Sundays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, unless the Ohio State Buckeyes or the Washington Commanders have a game at night. I'll be doing it during the afternoon then. And the Ramsey Show After Show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 5:25 Eastern time. And Ramsey Show Chat Refugee streams are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at that same time, 5:25 p.m. Eastern time. when the Ramsey Show video, the last portion of it, goes to the app instead of staying on the YouTube. And that explains baby steps again. And so that would do it for me for today. Again, tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. tomorrow night, there will be this stream answering your financial questions. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have not, please subscribe, like, and comment. And always make smart financial decisions every day.